Shadows in the Sanctuary, a true story. Auntie Bola sat in a dimly lit room, her eyes distant and thoughtful. One day, I was accused of being a witch. I stood in front of my entire community, feeling their eyes on me, filled with fear and suspicion. How did we get here? Let me tell you the story. Light Seekers Church. Ilorin is a lively town, full of life and energy. The people here are friendly, and everyone knows each other. Our church, Light Seekers Church, is the heart of our community. We all gather there every Sunday to pray, sing, and find solace. The sound of hymns and prayers echoed through the streets, bringing a sense of unity and peace. But things changed when a new pastor came to our church. His name was Reverend Ode. The rival of Reverend Ode. Reverend Ode was very strict. He talked a lot about sin and how we needed to be very careful. His sermons were filled with warnings and admonishments. He spoke of the unseen battles between good and evil, and the dangers lurking in the shadows. There are witches among us, he said, causing trouble and misfortune. Strange occurrences. Shortly after Reverend Ode's arrival, strange things began to happen. People started seeing shadows moving during church services. A sense of unease spread through the congregation. Some members fell ill with mysterious ailments, and rumors began to circulate that these illnesses were the work of witches. Reverend Ode fanned the flames of these fears, insisting that the community needed to find and root out the witches among them. The witch hunt begins. Reverend Ode led fervent prayer sessions, urging the congregation to pray and fast. He said that through prayer, the witches would be revealed. People were terrified. They began to look at each other with suspicion, whispering and pointing fingers. Friends turned against friends, and the sense of community that had once defined us began to crumble. One day, someone accused me. They said I was a witch. I couldn't believe it. I had always been a pillar of the community, helping others and spreading kindness. But now, everyone looked at me with fear and mistrust. My heart ached as I saw the doubt in their eyes. The trial. Reverend Ode decided to hold a trial. Those accused of witchcraft, including myself, were brought before the entire church. It was terrifying. The atmosphere was thick with tension. Reverend Ode stood at the front, his face stern and unyielding. The congregation watched, some with fear, others with a morbid curiosity. I am not a witch, I said, my voice steady despite my fear. Why are you doing this, Reverend Ode? Making everyone afraid is not the way of our faith. The revelation. As the trial went on, something shifted. People began to see the accusations for what they were, baseless claims born out of fear. They started to question Reverend Ode's motives. Whispers about his own behavior and secrets began to circulate. It became clear that he had been using fear to control the congregation. The climax. I believe in a faith built on love and understanding, not fear, I told the congregation, my voice firm. People nodded in agreement. Slowly but surely, the veil of fear lifted. The community began to see that Reverend Ode's methods were wrong, that he was using their fear for his own purposes. Resolution. Reverend Ode was asked to leave. In his place, a new pastor arrived, a kind and understanding man who preached love and unity. Our church began to heal. Trust was rebuilt, and the community that had been torn apart by fear started to come together again. We learned an important lesson: fear divides, but love and kindness bring us together. Thank you for listening to my story, Auntie Bola concluded, her eyes filled with wisdom. Remember, always choose love over fear.